To Based MMA, the UFC finally announced the main event and co-main event for the UFC Sphere. So the main event for the Sphere is going to be Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. Co-main event is going to be Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko 3, the trilogy. We kind of all knew that fight was coming. And I kind of have mixed feelings, right? I'm going to start off with the positive. Look. Merab versus O'Malley, or O'Malley versus Merab, right? Because O'Malley's a champion, is my second most anticipated fight for the rest of the year. I cannot wait for this fight. I mean, I think Merab, what he has been able to do, his skill set in the bantamweight division, he's just an absolute monster. I mean, his grappling, his pace, his cardio, his strength, his physical attributes. This guy's an absolute monster. And then Sean O'Malley, on the other hand, is an amazing striker. In my opinion, the best striker currently in the UFC, just in terms of skill set, his footwork, his hand speed, his power, his timing, his fight IQ. He's pretty good on the ground, underrated takedown defense. I really do believe O'Malley has improved a lot since that Peter Yan fight as well, which we're going to talk about. So in terms of this fight, like, I love this fight. I absolutely love this fight, and I think it makes a lot of sense for this fight to take place on the Sphere. My problem with this card isn't necessarily this fight itself. Like, I think this is an amazing fight. I'm super excited for it. Like, I'm super excited for it. And like I said, this is my second most anticipated fight for the rest of the year. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys could guess what number one is, to Poirier versus Holloway. I'm pretty sure that's the most anticipated fight for most of you guys, most of MMA fans. I'm pretty sure everybody's looking forward to that fight. But with all that being said, I like O'Malley versus Merab. Is it the main event that I wish was at the Sphere? Like, I wish it was, like, maybe we would have gotten into Poirier Holloway. I do. I think they could have done a little bit better, but my problems kind of lie with the rest of the card. I think this is an incredible main event. And let's just talk about this matchup, guys. Let's talk about this matchup. And if you guys have been subscribed to Based MMA, you guys know that I said that O'Malley is going to knock out Merab after O'Malley beat Marlon Vera. And I still hold that opinion. I still hold the opinion that O'Malley is just going to knock out Merab. And that's not to discredit Merab. I just think stylistically, O'Malley has too good of a footwork. I think Merab is a little bit plotty. He relies a lot on his physical attributes. He relies a lot on his cardio, on his pace, which is very effective. And he could potentially use that against O'Malley. But the problem with O'Malley is that he's very good from range. You know, throws really good teeps to the body, really good front kicks. He has an amazing right hand, a fast right hand, a good counter right hand. And we've seen Merab get hurt by guys like Henry Cejudo, like by Marlon Moraes. He didn't really want to strike with guys like Jose Aldo. He basically just held Jose Aldo up against the fence and kind of made it a boring fight. So I think stylistically, O'Malley should win this fight. Obviously, I think that Merab does have a path here. I think that if Merab, you know, maybe survives those early rounds and maybe is able to get those takedowns on O'Malley and just kind of like smother him on the ground, just kind of control him on the ground, get him tired, get him really fatigued, I could see Merab winning by a decision. The problem here as well is that Merab, he doesn't submit anybody. Like, he doesn't have like crazy submission skills. So I don't really see him being able to submit O'Malley, who has underrated BJJ skills. So for Merab to win, he has to win over a 5-round fight. And when I think about this fight, I think O'Malley is going to be landing the more significant shots on the feet. So I even think O'Malley could win. Like, I know when people are picking O'Malley, they're thinking, oh, knockout. And I'm thinking that as well. But O'Malley could also win this fight by a decision, just landing the better shots on the feet. Maybe, you know, O'Malley, you know, the fight stays standing for, like, let's say 3 minutes of one round, and then the 2 minutes is like Merab just controlling O'Malley up against the fence. Like, who do you think they're gonna give the round to? They're gonna give the round to O'Malley if he lands the better shots on the feet. And I just think that stylistically, this is kind of a really good fight for O'Malley, coming off the Marlon Vera win, coming off the Aljamain Sterling win. And that Aljamain Sterling fight, in theory, should be a harder fight for O'Malley. Like, the fact that Aljamain Sterling is very funky on the feet, the fact that he's kind of tall as well, the fact that he's a little bit more dangerous when he gets you to the ground. And we saw that O'Malley was able to make it very difficult for someone like Aljamain Sterling to be able to close the distance. And he wasn't even able to take down O'Malley when he had him up against the fence. And we've seen, like I said, Merab get hurt by guys. I don't think he has the best footwork. I don't think he has like the most amazing chin. So when I think about this matchup, I just think O'Malley's going to knock him out at some point. I just think at some point, O'Malley's going to hurt him really bad. And I think that if Henry Cejudo, at this point in his career, can stun you in that first round, can you imagine what O'Malley can do to Merab in that first or second round? With his speed, with his footwork, with his timing? It's going to be a problem, guys. It's truly going to be a problem for Merab. And like I said, like, I'm not the biggest fan of O'Malley in terms of like his personal life. I feel like a lot of people that hate O'Malley just hate him because of his personality, because the UFC is pushing him to be a big star. But when you objectively look at his skill set, I think that you have to pick him to beat Merab, in my opinion. Like, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I'm a really big fan of O'Malley's striking. I think he's the best striker currently in the UFC. Maybe that's a little bit of a hot take. I mean, most of you guys would probably agree he's at least top 3. But I just think he's too much of a problem for Merab. I think the distance is going to be a problem. I think the footwork is going to be a problem. I think the pace of the fight is really going to benefit O'Malley because Merab is going to try to figure out, okay, how do I close the distance on this guy? How do I shoot for a takedown? Like, how do I make sure I don't get dropped with a knee, I get hurt with a knee, get countered with a right hand, a left hook? There's a lot of weapons that O'Malley can use against Merab in this fight. And ultimately, I have to go with I have to go with O'Malley to win by a TKO. I'm very confident on this pick. I think Merab is a great guy. I think he's a very entertaining fighter. He doesn't have like the craziest striking, and obviously the UFC wants O'Malley to be the champion. But I think we all like Merab. I think his personality is pretty good, better personality than O'Malley. But in terms of a fight, in terms of the style, in terms of skill, I think O'Malley's in his prime. I think he's improved a lot since that fight against Peter Yan. I could see this fight being kind of a difficult fight for O'Malley, even if he wins. Perhaps maybe Merab gets him down to the ground and maybe O'Malley starts to gas out a little bit like we saw in that fight against Peter Yan. When Peter Yan was able to mix it up with the takedowns, we saw that O'Malley was looking up at the timer and kind of thinking like breathing really hard. So I could see that happening in this fight, but I just think O'Malley at some point is going to land a shot that really hurts Merab, and I think O'Malley is going to be able to land the follow-up shots and finish him. So I'm going to go with O'Malley to win by a knockout. Now, the co-main event was Grasso versus Shevchenko. We all knew this fight was coming. No surprise here. I'm not too mad about this fight being on the card just because we were all expecting it. There was some rumors that potentially Valentina Shevchenko did not want to be on this card just because of what happened last year at Noche UFC, where one of the judges gave Alexa Grasso a 10-8 in the 5th round, which is absolutely insane. And I thought Valentina should have won the rematch. So I completely understand why she probably didn't want to fight at Noche UFC. But I think also Valentina understands that she's a little bit older now. I think as more time passes, it's better for Alexa Grasso to get, those adjustments. Because I think Alexa Grasso, if she's able to fix her takedown defense, and if she's able to fix that, I think she wins with the boxing. I think she has better submission skills than someone like Valentina Shevchenko. But like I said, Valentina's also getting a bit older, so I'm going to go with Alexa Grasso to win by TKO in the 4th round. I just think the fact that so much time, about a year has passed since the rematch, I think that's going to benefit Alexa Grasso, who's a younger fighter, who's in their prime more than someone like Valentina Shevchenko. But I could see Valentina winning. She has high fight IQ, she has good takedowns, she has great cardio, so I could see her making the adjustments to win this fight. But in terms of her having a finishing ability, I just don't see it against Alexa Grasso. And we saw Alexa Grasso just has a major power advantage on the feet when it came to the striking. So I'm going to go with Alexa Grasso to win this rematch. And now I'm going to talk about my problem with this card. And I just basically glazed, O'Malley versus Merab and Grasso versus Shevchenko. But now I'm going to talk shit about this card because it is being hyped as the greatest live combat sport event show anybody's ever seen. And you just announced Rodriguez versus Osborne. How the fuck does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. And look, I understand that the UFC, Dana White is hyping up the event. He's hyping up the Sphere, the way that's going to be shot, the performance of it. But he's not necessarily hyping up the caliber of a card. But if you're doing a once in a lifetime type of event, you have to put a crazy card. And as much as I think Ortega versus Lopez is a good fight, that fight has kind of lost a bit of its shine because we were expecting it at UFC 303. And at this point, I much would have preferred Lopez versus Jair Rodriguez or Ortega versus Charles Oliveira. I think if they would have made those two fights, they would have been a little bit more exciting than a fight Ortega versus Lopez that we were already expecting for UFC 303. So because of that, I feel like the card feels very, very fucking safe. Like, it's okay. It's a great fight. Like I said, I'm excited for it, but I mean, it's not a fight that really wows you. And then Sel Huber versus Ribovics. This is a great fight for the Sphere, but it's not a main card type of fight. Like, that's a problem with this card. Like, you're doing a once in a lifetime type of event, and I get it. You're trying to cater to the Mexican audience. You're trying to make a Mexican card. But in my opinion, I much would have preferred them attempt a UFC 300 type of card, at least for the main card. Like, have Volkanovski versus Charles Oliveira, have Kamaru Usman versus Shavkat Rakhmonov, really have like a star-studded main card rather than just have a bunch of Mexican fighters who I believe could still be on the card but be on the prelims. Like, this is a prelim type of fight. I mean, it's a really good fight. I'm looking forward to it. Rodriguez versus Osborne is a fight that probably should open up the prelims. Like, I hope this fight isn't on the main card. I mean, I don't really think it's going to be on the main card, but still, that's a fucking problem. So, is it overhyped? I think this event was a bit overhyped. Look, like I said, I love the main event. Great co-main event. Great feature fight. But is it going to be the greatest live combat sports show anybody's ever seen? Potentially, right? If the event is shot very well and we're like, man, we've never seen this type of event and the fights really deliver, then of course we're going to change our mind. But in terms of the card on paper, I mean, this card could have been a lot better. And I don't understand why the UFC took so long to announce this card if it was just going to be a very safe UFC Sphere, in my opinion. Like I said, I'm very excited for the main event, but it's not wow, man. It's a little bit overhyped, guys. And I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm trying to be positive. And like I said, I'm really excited for this fight, but it's not a fight that really wows you. I mean, it's a fight for the hardcore fans, I believe, and O'Malley's kind of becoming a big star. He's a very exciting fighter. And like I said, I'm not mad that Grasso Shevchenko is on this card, but I felt like it's missing like that one fight, like that one big fight. Maybe Charles Oliveira versus Volkanovski, maybe Charles Oliveira versus Colby Covington. It's missing that spice, man. It's missing that sauce. Like, it just feels a little bit too safe. But anyway, guys, I'm excited for these fights. I'm glad that the UFC finally announced this card. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of this card. What do you think of the main event? Like I said, I'm very excited for the main event, and I'm glad it is the main event, but I just wish the card would have been a little bit better. It feels a little bit safe and thin, if I'm being honest. Like, after the feature fight, the card drops off a little bit too much. And then, like I said, Lopez versus Ortega has kind of lost a bit of his shine just because it was already supposed to happen at UFC 303. It is what it is. I mean, we'll see how the fights deliver. I'm also waiting for a UFC 307 fight announcement, guys. So we'll see what happens, guys. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.